It's a gorgeous day here at the Sepang International Circuit where we've been invited out by Great Wall Motors to sample the Aura 07. But this is not just any Aura 07 because today we'll be let out on track in the Aura 07 Performance and Long Range Ultra. One offering up to 640 kilometers of range on the NEDC cycle and the other one offering 0 to 100 acceleration performance in less than 4.5 seconds. My name is AIMAN ABDULLAH, this is Malaysian Bolshevik, this is the Sepang International Circuit and welcome to the media preview of the GWM Aura 07 Performance and Long Range Ultra. Now this Aura 07 that we have here is the performance model. Not that you can tell from the front end because you still get the full LED headlights on either side replete with a very intricately cut housing for the LED projectors which look very Bentley-like, as well as this very wide and low front end with this lovely sort of geometric pattern down here, which Aura says helps to improve aerodynamics by sort of breaking up the wind flow, or so they claim. The problem I have with the front end of the 07 is that the headlights are a bit too small and a bit too far apart, which make it look a little bit funny, but I do at least appreciate that it's got a very low hood. Must sort of improve aerodynamics, I suppose. But it's on the side where you can really tell the difference because the Performance runs on 19-inch alloy wheels wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport EV tyres and there are red brake calipers hiding behind those wheels. If you get the Long Range Ultra, you get 18-inch alloy wheels with silver brake calipers instead, just in case you're trying to figure it out. Aside from that, the side profile of the Aura 07 remains very familiar to what we've seen in the past, which means that you have a charge port up here on the right side fender. You also have frameless doors, which I'll show you in a moment, as well as deployable door handles in order to improve aerodynamics. However, this sort of frameless window arrangement, this is what I like a lot. Now, the overall profile of the Aura 07 is something that a lot of people have talked about because it's very reminiscent of sort of a Beetle that's been pulled out, or potentially a Porsche Panamera first generation, which, if memory serves, was not really the best looking. Now, the problem that I have is that I can't quite figure out whether or not I like it because from some angles it's quite pretty and then from other angles it just seems a little bit ungainly. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Now at the back end of the Aura 07, again, you can't really tell that this is the performance model because there is nothing to tell you that it is. No exhaust pipes, obviously, because this is an electric vehicle, no badging, nothing. Even this deployable spoiler is standard on all 07 variants, so again, you can't really tell. Now, despite this roofline, or what it might suggest, the Aura 07 is actually a saloon because it has a boot rather than an open tailgate. Now, behind the boot lid, you will find a pretty decent amount of space. It does go in quite a way, which means that if you have, for example, golf bags, you can actually put them in sort of lengthways rather than widthways. So you could actually put 3 in here and in a pinch. On top of that, there is actually some space underneath the boot floor for things like your charging cables as well as your emergency tire repair kit. Although this being the performance model, obviously you get 2 motors, so the amount of space back there is somewhat limited. I will say, however, that this relatively high load lip does mean that taking things in and out or putting things in and out of this boot is going to be a little bit of a challenge, but the rear seats do fold flat should you need even more practicality. And of course, this boot is powered with just a button. Eventually. But it's inside the Aura 07 where I think that it really puts its best foot forward because this interior, no matter how you slice it, is fabulous. So for the performance variant, you get this lovely sort of cocoa brown interior, which I think looks fantastic. Although this upholstery scheme is also available as an option on the Long Range Ultra, which comes as standard with black. But aside from that, everything in here just looks fantastic. You've got this waterfall style center console here, replete with a little bit of ambient lighting down the side, which houses all of your physical HVAC controls, which I appreciate hugely, as well as your drive mode selector, which lives down here. You also get a couple of digital instrumentation. So you have a digital cluster up ahead of you with 3 cowls in it, which I'm not gonna lie, reminds me a lot of a Porsche in the best possible way, as well as this massive central touchscreen here. Now, admittedly, this is a little bit further away than I would like, but at least it does come with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which means I might not have to manipulate this all that often. And unfortunately, while you can control your blower speed and your temperature from here, adjusting the aircon vents is done in there. Because just like the BYD Seal, all of the vents are motorized and they live in the screen. Anyway, beyond that, at least you have a very nice sort of thin rim steering wheel wrapped in very, very nice leather, replete with, again, physical controls for things like your adaptive cruise control as well as your media functionality. And you even have a dedicated sport button which sits on this little dedicated space, very familiar to anyone who's driven a Porsche. And because this is the performance model, you also get a little checkered flag here on the steering wheel. This checkered flag is important because nowhere else in this interior does this car tell you that this is the performance model. Not on the door sills, not on the seats, nowhere else. This is just, for all intents and purposes, a regular Aura 07. Just one that can hit 100 kilometers an hour in 4.3 seconds. However, like most electric saloons, you will find the floor in the Aura 07 sits quite high, which means that I don't have that much under thigh support. And with the seat setup in my driving position, I'm about 170 centimeters. I don't really have much space for me to tuck my feet in underneath the seat in front of me, although legroom is still pretty good. Headroom is relatively limited because of that sloping roofline, but because this has a very large rear windscreen, it does at least mean there isn't a bar right above my head, so they have tried to free up as much headroom as possible. In terms of rear accoutrements, I still get lovely sort of material quality everywhere. Everything here is soft touch with a little bit of stitching here, some ambient lighting and whatever. I still get the nice speaker grills as part of the Infinity audio system that comes as standard with this car. I get a couple of crotch coolers, and I really do mean crotch coolers this time because it's really, really low. USB-A, USB-C ports, deployable center armrest with cup holders, and yeah, that's about it. Oh, there's obviously ISO fixed mounts too. But overall, life back here doesn't seem too bad. I could kind of stretch out and enjoy what little space I have because this car also seems to come with what appears to be imitation lamb's wool carpets. They're very thick and very fuzzy. I almost want to take my shoes off. But the point of us being out here in Sepang today is to drive these cars. And so, without further ado, let's get to driving. So now we're doing a slalom test in the Aura 07 Performance. Now bear in mind that this car is more powerful, but there are no revisions to the suspension, at least in terms of specification, which means this will be a pretty good test to see how this car manages its weight, especially through this relatively tight slalom course. So now we just need a go ahead from the instructor, thank you, and we are set to go in Sport Plus mode. And 3, 2, 1. Whoa! Oh, it's got a little bit of noise. So chucking it into the slalom, I can feel quite a bit of body lean. I think this car's relatively soft suspension does mean, whoa, that it will chuck itself around a little bit. But that said, it's still not as bad as it could be. I think vehicles like the BYD Atto 3, for example, would absolutely fall apart here. But I do also think the BYD Seal would perform a little bit better through a slalom course like this. But I think that the demonstration here is ultimately to prove that this car performs in a relatively safe and predictable manner, and I think that it should do quite well. But of course, if you're buying an Aura 07, don't do that too frequently, otherwise you might, you know. But at least this interior is brown. And the tires are coping well. Okay, so now we're going to do a 0 to 100 test. Now, because it's the performance model, it should be able to achieve the Century sprint time in about 4.3 seconds. We are in Sport Plus mode with launch control activated, which is not recommended for use on roads ever. So foot on brake and full throttle, right? Anna?
Full throttle, are you done? Okay.
All right.
3, 2, 1, go.
Whoa! Oh, it's got noises. And that's 120 kilometers an hour.
Forget the brake. Good, good, good.
Okay, so we hit about 120 kilometers an hour by the time we'd hit our braking point.
All good, it's ready.
And memory empty. So we've actually got specialist timing gear provided to us by the event organizer, and it's currently saying memory empty. So hopefully we hit 104.3 seconds because we can't really tell. We'll just try and get them to reset that before our second run. Now, I will note that in Sport Plus mode with the ESC off, that's the only way for you to engage launch control. Launch control cannot be engaged unless you have ESC off. So again, do not do this on open roads. However, I can say that this car accelerates with a degree of performance that you wouldn't necessarily be expecting from something that maybe looks like this. But it does do so in a very stable and predictable fashion, which is nice to see. And yeah, so now we'll give this another run just to specifically check the timing. Okay, now we're going to do this again with the timer running. So let me just straighten out the wheel. Left foot on brake, right foot on throttle, launch control activated, and 3, 2, 1. Whoa! And that's 100, and brake. Huh. Okay, so the brakes are pretty good as well. It will stop the car with urgency. So right now we're just waiting for 4.58 seconds to go from 0 to 100. So it's a little bit off the 4.3 that they're claiming, but of course this could be due to many different factors. Now, for those of you who are wondering, we currently have 83% battery. We're in Sport Plus mode, again with the ESC off in order to trigger launch control. So everything should be working correctly to achieve 4.3 seconds, 0 to 100. Now, the instructor earlier said that he did manage to do 4.32 this morning, but right now we're still doing about 4.58. So let's see if we have another opportunity to try and hit 4.3. Maybe it's because there are two of us in the car. Yeah. Okay, and now it's time for our third run in the hopes that the equipment will work with us this time. So left foot on brake, right foot on throttle, launch control activated. 3, 2, 1. 100 and brake. Still very good brakes. So we've been doing that about 3 times now. Actually, I've been doing it to try and heat up the brakes. So it seems to me that even when the brakes are slightly hotter, because this is clearly not a very light car, the performance is still retained. So this car will still stop as urgently as you need it to, which I think is still quite impressive for a car like this. Again, the Aura 07 Performance is not a sports car. This is merely a performance EV, so it's more about acceleration rather than dynamics. And so its ability to stop as quickly as it does, in addition to accelerating as quickly as it does, is indeed very impressive and very commendable for a car like this. So now, in order to try and get the best acceleration time, Izzat's gotten out of the car. So me alone, let's see if this has something to do with it. 3, 2, 1. Fuck me. And okay, performance finished. Overall, still very impressive. I love the fact the 360-degree camera comes on as I turn the steering wheel. It's clearly angle activated, and that was 4.63. So I think that our best run was the first one at 4.52, but again, acceleration times are influenced by many different factors. So I wouldn't say that this is a failure on the part of the Aura 07. I'll just say that it's just what the conditions have allowed. Okay, now we're doing sort of like an emergency lane change test at about 80 kilometers an hour. ESC is back on again. So now we're just going to see how this car manages itself in an emergency situation. So now we bring this up to, that's still not 80, that's 80. And brake. Whoa. Okay. Right. So that was perhaps not as smooth as I would have liked. And I think I may have gone a little bit too fast. But we'll try that again and see if that works any better. And we're doing this again. Whoa, this car's fast. Okay, back down, 60, at 70-ish, 73. Okay, I can feel a little bit of power shuffle between the front and rear axle in order to try and keep the car sort of a bit straighter. But overall, it certainly appears like the Aura 07 can handle its weight pretty well. Okay, so now for our third run, we're going to give this a little bit more welly and try and get this at exactly 80, because I think I've been doing a little bit over, a little bit under. Let's try and hit exactly 80. All right, so now we are good to go. Instructor's given us the green light. And 3, 2, 1. Ooh, this car is quick. 82, 80, 76, brake. Okay, so I'm actually trying to go a little bit more aggressively, specifically to try and unsettle the car. And even though the cones are set up quite tight, this car is still managing to sort of maintain itself pretty well. I think overall, the Aura 07 has a relatively confident dynamic to it. It's not a performance car, but it does well enough, at least well enough for customers within this sort of range looking for a comfortable, luxurious electric saloon. So overall, it's okay. It's okay. Just don't get into this assuming that it's a sports car, because it's not. But again, for 189 grand, what else do you want, really? So after having driven the Aura 07 through quite a few obstacles and challenges out here on the track, it is quite safe to say that this car certainly feels like a very confident steer. Sure, the suspension is set up a little bit more for comfort than dynamism, but then again, most consumers are looking for a more comfortable large electric saloon rather than one that is overly sporty. In any case, it's very clear that this long range and performance model will be able to satiate Malaysian customers who are looking for either a faster car or one that can go further between charges. And we certainly look forward to seeing this car when it finally launches very, very soon, and of course take this car out on test. But in the meantime, that concludes our media preview of the Aura 07 long range and performance here at the Sepang International Circuit. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell icon so notified every time we make a new upload. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can follow our new WhatsApp channel. All the links are in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Take care and stay safe.